Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
So this one's gonna be rough.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. I wasn't looking at your dick. I was looking at the light.
Oh, yeah, I'll conceal carry it.
Conceal carry it.
You would need a magnifying glass to find my dick. It's small.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tactically Misguided. My name is Patrick, and with me today, as now always,
Lobertini.
Hunter Lobertini. You didn't do the thing, though.
Oh, fuck.
Hunter Lobertini.
Hi, guys.
Ah, fuck. He's a little off this time, so bear with us. This might be a rough one.
Yeah, a lot of rough stuff coming up in this episode, especially if you're Russian. It's gonna be brutal. So we were talking about whether it should be called Winter's Coming or Reindeer Bloodbath,
Or both.
Reindeer Bloodbath of Winter is Coming.
Of Winter is Coming. That's a really long name, but I'll go for it.
Hell yeah.
Reindeer Coming, Bloodbath, and Winter.
Reindeer Coming Blood. God. Yeah, we type these up. We type these notes up, and we share them, which I think is pretty cool. But then life kind of gets in the way between him running that gun store
and then him doing cop things, future cop things.
Yeah, and like you have to juggle family. You have to, especially since it's coming Christmas time, and family's important. A lot of people don't place enough importance on it. So
very true, very true.
Let's just start talking about how absolutely fucked the Winter War was.
Okay, so this is we're going to start kind of opening these things up with. I'll start discussing the first thing on the topic, and then we'll just go from there, because he's the freaking encyclopedia, the Wikipedia, if you will, the Loberpedia.
The weaponized autism.
Yes. So, the Winter War, which was the Finnish versus the Soviets in 1939. Basically, it was a big border dispute between Finland and Russia, Soviet Russia, and through the use of combined arms maneuvering units, snipers, cannot pronounce whatever the fuck you put in there for that, and the defense in depth and some of the tactics that they were using. It looks like Russia lost that one pretty hard, pretty fucking hard. They got schwacked. They got schwacked good. 25,900 casualties on the Finnish side versus 760,000 on the Soviet side. I'd say they won.
Yeah, technically, they call it the First Winter War because this predated the second one that happened during World War II. Essentially happened is when the Germans invaded Poland, and then they realized that the Germans can sweep up and it would cut them off from the Baltics. It used to be what's called Königsberg, now it's called Kaliningrad. It's a little exclave that's next to Poland and I believe Latvia or Lithuania. Yeah. But Finland was just kind of doing its own thing, and after World War I, Lenin basically said, you Finns, which are distinct from Russian and distinct from the Scandinavian countries, they said, hey, you guys can have your own country. So they weren't even, this is 39, so they had only been around for like 20 years as a country.
Damn.
Russia wanted to, because Russia's second city at the time, its largest city, St. Petersburg, is literally right there. So it made the Russians really uncomfortable that the Finns could strike, or if the Finns wound up letting the Nazis come in. At this time, the Nazis...
They were fucking paranoid.
Yeah, the Nazis and the Soviets were actually buddy-buddy, and you remember they both invaded Poland.
This is before, what was the treaty they had with each other? The Treaty of Versailles?
The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact.
Yeah.
Versailles was, I think, World War I. But
was it World War? There was a treaty that they had together that basically, obviously, Hitler stood his ground and that demolished the pact that they had together.
Yeah. Well, and the crazy thing is the Finns did not have a standing army. They had a lot of reservists, and they wound up essentially, I think they had something, it was ridiculous. They had something like 5 tanks. Most of the planes they had were biplanes from like World War I. They were used by like the wildlife park rangers, essentially.
Yeah.
But the Russians made a really bad mistake. They basically they killed off most of their officers in their purges. So they literally wiped out like 90% of anybody over the rank of like colonel was shot in the head by the NKVD, the Soviet secret police. And so the average Russian general's age was 40. If you look at the Nazis in the other countries, you had some in their 70s, 60s, 50s, and they could count on having those leaders that wound up being able to command. These 40-year-old guys were mostly political appointees, just because they were a good communist. So when you look at this army, is massive. The Russian military, no matter how many times it gets its teeth kicked in, they just have an endless supply of bodies. And
it's the fucking war of attrition, basically, for them, which they're not going to lose.
Well, they went in there
on that front. They're not going to lose.
They went in there with I think it was somewhere around. They went in there with I think about 1 million men. Or no, it was I think 500,000. It was like 500,000. Yeah, and they were going against I think it was like 25,000 Finns. But they really screwed up because they didn't understand where they were going, and it was like if you look at Finland, it's not like Norway or Sweden.
Yeah.
It's like frozen swamps. And they had a peninsula called the Karelian Peninsula. That's what connects Russia and Finland. And it's a machine gunner's wet dream. It is a cannoneer's wet dream because you basically confined everybody to try and go up there. There's another way they could have gone around at the far north, but the problem that you run into for that one is there's nothing up there. There's literally only reindeer. Like there's very few human beings.
Hence reindeer bloodbath. And
the entire war was sub-zero. We're not talking just freezing. We're talking sub-zero. Temperatures down to -40. And one of the guys in here, Simo Haya, he's the deadliest sniper known in the world, known to man. He killed 504 Russians and then an extra 200 with a machine gun or a submachine gun.
So that's the thing I couldn't pronounce there was Shiba Haya. That thing.
But his nickname was the White Death. And
I've heard that.
The Finns had a long history of being like outdoorsmen, like hunting, like what we would say here in the United States, a good old boy. One of the guys that would learn how to shoot.
Good old boy from down south. Or Midwest, I guess, because that's where there's way better hunting in the Midwest than there's here.
But yeah, the Finns wound up fighting, and the Finns only actually had, I think, out of the entire war, which lasted 100 days.
Well, damn, some more.
300 days. No, it was 100 days. The first section of it. I can't remember the exact days. It was something ridiculous. But the Soviets were losing so many soldiers. It was just abhorrent how pitiful they were. They would literally send these guys out there. They didn't have any white camouflage. They were almost completely mechanized, so they had to use these trucks. There's only like a handful of roads. So all they really had to do was down some trees. The Russians would drive right up, and then they would get ambushed. And it's not just that. They had I can't remember, there's a line that they basically made, that Finland made, and it's a defensive line. It's not the Mannerheim. I would have to look it up, but they basically had a bunch of bunkers and little fortresses, and so they had basically all their active duty dudes down there, and then they started bringing up reservists. And at the time, you could mobilize faster in the Finnish military because they were closer to where they were fighting. Russia literally had to pull people from over by Mongolia, people from the European...
Mongolians!
They make good barbecue. But
I swear, I think I've done that in like every episode that we've done. I've been goddamn Mongolians.
But it was really bad because the Soviets had a dual chain of command. One of it was their tactical chain of command that the officers basically would only be the ones giving the orders. And then they had their political chain of command. They had these political commissars. And the political commissar, even though he doesn't know shit, he's like PAO, public affairs officer, with a handgun so he can shoot whoever steps out of line. They could overrule the tactical officers. And it was so bad that like entire battalions and regiments and brigades would be wiped out to like the last man. And the Finns were very good at the Moti tactic. Moti or Moti.
Moti. Yeah.
And it's the Moti actually stands for the Finnish word Moti refers to a bundle of logs held in place by stakes that would be chopped to make firewood at convenient lengths. In context of the war, Moti describes a tactic that the Finns used to immobilize, segment, surround, and destroy the Soviet troops that were many times larger than them.
Yeah.
So they used...
Well, that's what they could use too for, like you were saying, with roads and shit. Fucking use those almost like tank barriers and shit. Just fucking a bundle of logs being fucking trees and just right in the middle of the damn road.
And they didn't have anti-tank weapons. They had everything that they managed to take out tanks with. And this is the craziest batshit thing ever. They literally had dudes run up with a fucking log, jam it in the tracks of the tank. It would throw a track.
Yep.
And then they created.
I'm glad that you know the term throw track. So glad.
Well, the craziest thing is this is where the term Molotov cocktail
starts getting
from.
PTSD from that. I threw track on a fucking icy 1-lane road in fucking Norway. So I understand.
Well, the crazy thing is Ribbentrop was the foreign minister of Germany, and Molotov was the foreign minister of Russia. Germany was actually friendly with Finland, and actually, after this war, the Germans actually gave them tons of weapons, and a lot of Finns wound up coming over and being in the Waffen-SS.
I can... So was this before or after World War? This was during World War II.
This was before, during, and technically a little bit after.
So were they after World War II? Were they giving the Finns weapons, or was this
after World War II? A lot of,
because I mean, obviously Germany was like fucking.
They were decimated.
Yeah, there was nothing left.
But I'll put it this way: there was a guy named Lonnie Thorne. He's one of the most decorated soldiers. He fought in multiple wars. He started off in the Finnish army. Yeah. And they fought the Russians. The Winter War concludes with the Finnish ceding some land, not a lot, ceding some land to make a buffer zone with Russia. Yeah. And fucking 750,000 dead Russians. Like, they got their shit pushed in. Lonnie Thorne then decides he's going to go into the Waffen-SS, so he goes into SS. And the German SS. A lot of Finns wound up doing that. It was the Nord, the Viking division. And then, so when World War II kicks off, this is after the Winter War is done, Finland then is like, all right, we're going to get our shit back. And Finland basically makes a treaty with Germany. Germany gives them weapons. They're allowed to station men up there. And they also had taken over Norway. So if you're looking at it, Norway got taken over, Finland got taken over, and Sweden's just kind of sitting in there.
Okay, yeah. So all that makes a lot more sense. Given our presence, which is what I fucking did in Norway. Yep. That's the whole fucking reason that we did all of that in the 50s is when we started doing that. As NATO did, like putting all the armament and shit and caves and stuff that we did up there. And like we literally I couldn't go in there to work on my fucking pig unless I was on the fucking roster to enter the caves that day. Like it was fucking, it was weird because it was like, it's hush hush, but it's, nobody knows. The caves are in the middle of a fucking park.
Yeah.
Like, how is that hush hush?
Well, they don't advertise it, but if you look for it, you can find it.
Yeah, it's not like, it wasn't that hard. And we had Wi-Fi.
You gotta have that.
We had fucking Wi-Fi at the 10s. But like that, so that makes a lot more sense now, because given the things that we had, the information we were given about it was that, this was used during fucking World War II as a strategic point for Germany. I didn't know that the Finns were involved in that too.
Yeah, the Finns
I just
were.
thought they buckled to Germany, basically.
No, they were pissed off because the Russians had just taken some of their land, and they were like, we're going to use this as an excuse to help the Nazis. And then a lot of those guys that were veterans of Finland went to Germany. After Germany fell, a lot of them got arrested, but a lot of them came here to the United States, and that's what Lonnie Thorne, he wound up doing. So he emigrated to the United States, got a job for like a year, and then straight up wound up going Army Special Forces, and then got his commission. So I think he was a captain in the Army. So he was a Finnish commando, German SS Nazi commando, and then U.S. Special Forces Green Beret. He was unfortunately killed when a helicopter that he was doing aerial observation with went down. But here, one bad motherfucker.
60s?
Yep. Bad motherfucker to survive the Winter War, fight in World War fucking II, and then the Vietnam War. That's crazy.
As 3 different fucking special... We gotta do a whole thing on him. We should do a whole fucking thing.
We'll do it.
When we do the live podcast, it should be on that, actually.
Hell yeah. I'm down.
Because I've got a couple ideas for that. Which brings me to this real quick. I have a great idea for that. I'm gonna move your GAT here.
Oh, wow.
So, what we're gonna do, especially for the live podcast, is we're gonna have different things on the dartboard here. This is the first time we're showing this to them. We're gonna have different, we can do it as different guys.
Okay.
Like him, like
Lonnie Thorne.
we'll fucking shoot the thing at it, and like whichever one it lands on or what gets closest to. We'll do the fucking topic on.
I'm down. That's dope.
And we'll have it within, where the camera can fucking see it and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing.
That's dope, man.
Fucking moving on up. Anyways,
well,
let's talk more about. Let's see.
We also have.
All right, so I definitely like the next topic.
The next topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fucking shootout. Now, is this the... All right, so this took place, what, the 90s?
No, this was 70s or 80s. I think it was 87. It was 84 or 87.
So, especially working at where I am now, a lot of the guys come in and talk about this all the time. It's why... What was there's a whole thing behind it. Basically, if it's what I'm thinking of, that's why they switched. That's why they started carrying rifles. Like a lot of agencies started carrying rifles.
86.
86. Yes, that's what I was thinking. It was either like late 80s or early 90s.
It was also the deadliest shootout the FBI ever had, and it was bad. And
that's why they started carrying 10 mil, isn't it? They originally carried 10 mil and then went to 40 short and weak.
They were carrying revolvers. There's a famous picture out there, and it has in the center.
They were massively outgunned. They had to go to a gun shop.
No, that's a different one.
That's a different shootout?
This one they really fucked up because they had special agents that essentially did what's called a known felony stop. They were following these guys, and they realized they were the bank robbers. So they're calling on their little radios, and they basically got 4 FBI cars, and they basically kind of box this dude and pin him in a residential neighborhood. There was two bank robbers. Both of them were ex-military with Vietnam War experience, and they had a shotgun and a Mini 14.
Yep, Mini 14.
And which is
wait. Was the Mini 14 wood stock or a black synthetic?
Wood.
Black gun's scary. Wood also. So it was a hunting rifle.
It was a fucking what do they call them? Wildcat rounds. 223 and up.
It was the one that it was it shot 223 rim.
Yeah.
So that's the same one that Duplin County had traded in. I was about to buy.
Hell yeah.
Because that was an 80 series, so it was a 79.
But the dude had it was semi-auto, so it wasn't full. But the FBI responding agents only had shotguns and revolvers. One dude had a backup gun that was essentially a semi-automatic pistol. Now they did have their emergency response officers that were showing up. These guys showed up after the gunfight was over. They had some M16A1s. but they didn't have any sort of carbine. It was just literally shotguns and revolvers
against
the Mini-14.
basically the first, but not the first. Well, I don't know. Would that be considered the first semi-auto was a Mini-14? I know a lot of agencies use them that way.
I would say
before transitioning over to M4s and M16s and M16s and M4s.
They were used a lot by state and highway patrol, state police and stuff as a semi-auto rifle. The problem is that this caused the assault weapons ban.
Yep.
But we all know the Mini-14 was never banned.
Yep. Well, because it goes back to that whole thing, because they did a whole fucking dog and pony on this earlier this year when talks more gun control and stuff were going on. I think it was a senator or a congressman that was advocating against gun control brought up the Mini-14, and it was he had a wood stocked Mini-14 and they thought it was a hunting rifle, and he's like, this does the exact same thing that the AR does, that the black synthetic version of this one does, because they're the same fucking gun.
The Bermudan Defense Forces to this day still use it. It's used in a lot of like state or federal prisons. The guys in the towers have it.
They're not very accurate at distance.
No.
But they're a great gun. But they're not accurate.
The craziest thing is all these officers basically crash this car and a shootout ensues. And the first robber is hit pretty much almost instantly. He's wounded.
Yeah.
The second robber is fighting the whole time. He's been shot and he's bleeding out. He's dying.
Yeah.
But he kept going for an additional 2 minutes. You're counting this down. He managed to shoot one cop. He wound up actually maneuvering on a second one and killed him at the rear of a vehicle.
Yep, I heard about that one. I remember that specific part of the story.
It was, I think, 2 or 3. There were a few that were killed. The guy who was wounded actually got shot in his arm or his hand, and wound up actually having to do fighting while wounded with a shotgun. So this dude straight up had to rack his gun with one hand, and he's firing.
And racking with...
Yep. And so...
Because they were using fucking old school, 870s.
Yeah. And he wound up actually shooting him with the shotgun. The guy crawled back into the car to get more ammo, and he literally just hobbled up there and put rounds into him right in the car.
Now, I don't know if it was Miami or Los Angeles. There's another shootout that happened around the same time frame. And this is also when law enforcement needed to switch to a different round because they couldn't penetrate body armor.
Yeah.
They couldn't penetrate body armor. They couldn't penetrate windshields. It was where 2 assailants, robbers.
Yeah. That's the North Hollywood.
Yes, North Hollywood shootout. That's where they had I just hit my mic. Where they had
the bullet.
Sorry.
The bullet. They had basically bulletproofed themselves with vests and Kevlar.
Yep. And then that's the one that I'm thinking of, where they had to legitimately go
into a gun shop.
To get guns and ammo that they could effectively use against the 2 guys.
Yeah.
And then the fucking gun shop got in fucking trouble with the ATF for that.
Yeah.
The ATF fucked them for it. I'm like,
go figure. Uncle Sam being a fucking douchebag.
Anyways, yeah.
Well, so there's one even before all of these called the NorCal shootout. We could talk about that one. That was essentially a squad of fucking dudes robbed a bank, and it ensued into this big ass shootout leading hundreds of miles. Guys wound up going into the mountains. A Green Beret was a state trooper. He unfortunately was killed. But NorCal is a really good one. There's a guy that does YouTube videos called Popo Medic. He's really good.
Damn those guys that do YouTube videos.
Well, he winds up making some pretty good assessments about the NorCal shootout, this shootout. He likes to use a little bit of synthwave. Some of the stuff he talks about is pretty good. Some shit, he tried to compare MARSOC to the paras with the British military, and I was like, bro, if you don't know something, don't talk about it.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Because and the thing is, this is if you don't know something, that's fine, but putting out information,
sit here and listen to somebody else that does.
Yeah. Well, and I've had some serious funny shit happen. There's a Russian YouTuber that was talking about MARSOC, and they were calling us elite chemical troops, and I was like,
elite chemical troops?
Yeah. I was like, I don't think I don't understand where.
Okay, one. Which part of this is like? So, what is he trying to say? That you were like a science experiment?
No, that we were.
I could see that. It makes a lot of sense.
Well,
right now.
I mean, a lot of the pictures were sent out early MARSOC as this sort of hybrid irregular warfare force, and then somehow a bunch of pictures with us wearing fucking gas masks and Broco torch stuff. And people got to the assumption that these guys are like elite chemical troops. They go into chemical environments that can fight in chemical environments.
Yeah, so they're like Seaburn, except they actually do something.
But it long story short, Popo Medic does He does a really good job on this. But there's the FBI Files. It's a YouTube channel. It's like something like 300 episodes. It's really fucking cool. They have a breakdown, and they actually talk to the guys that were in the shootout. But long story short, this caused the assault weapons ban. So
I love when people come into my shop and ask for that. And I ask for an assault rifle. So what I used to do when I worked at Academy was I would go over to the fucking outdoor section. I would grab the little fucking bug assault gun that shoots little salt pellets out of it.
I got one.
And I would come back and give it to them like, here you go. And they're like, what is this? I'm like, that's an assault rifle.
Yeah, well,
an assault rifle.
The thing is,
assault's a term.
Yes, assault.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the fucking gun. AR does not stand for that. If you're watching this channel, then you should. I say should know because I still have people that come into the shop that don't know what AR stands for. They assume it stands for assault rifle. This Armalite rifle because that's what that's the Armalite was the originators of the platform back in the 50s. Tangent. Sorry. Over. Done.
Well, so the term, and it is a term, and a lot of people are like, assault rifle isn't a thing. It is, but it's not a specific weapon. It has to do.
It's a action, and it's a grouping.
Yeah. So you have your PDWs, which is your personal defense weapons. Then you have your submachine guns. Then you have your assault rifles. Then you have your battle rifles, and it all has to do with overlapping distances that they can use. Like a battle rifle is something that you're going to try and swing past 300 but less than 700. So the M16 technically, I mean, it's a .223 caliber.
Well, so is M4.
Or 5.56. Yeah,
so
well, the M4 is a carbine and
you're taking that out.
It fills the assault weapons role. Same with
but you're still
AK.
taking that out.
Yeah.
To 500 yards, sometimes 1,000.
Yeah. Well,
as a M4, as a carbine length rifle.
But it's when we talk like the M14, we talk about the EBR, the EMR, we talk about the 7.62 AR-10s, but they're M110s. Those would be your battle rifle / marksmanship rifles, and then your sniper rifles reach out, and then you have machine guns, light, medium, heavy. Yeah, so it's just basically overlapping these rings for your defense in depth and your offensive capabilities projection. And then you get into mortars and stuff like that. But because of Miami, a bunch of cocksuckers wound up saying you can't have a semi-automatic weapon. And it kind of sucked because to this day, like in California, I purchased a Mini 14. And all I had to do was wait 30 days.
And you bought a Mini 14. What year was this?
This was 2015 or 2016.
26. Don't try this at home, kids, because that shit ain't happening now.
And
you can barely buy shit in California.
Well, the pistols, actually, it's 30-day wait. And so technically, it took me longer to buy a pistol here in North Carolina because I didn't know you had to have a pistol purchase permit.
But it also depends
on the sheriff.
It depends on the county.
Yeah.
It depends on the time frame too, because I've had people come into the shop that did not realize that.
Yeah.
And I'll send them. I'll be like, hey, your first fucking stop is go to this website, do this, and they'll go on there, and then 2 fucking days later they're back in the shop with the permit, and we do the fucking thing. It takes 15 minutes, but when 2020 rolled around and there was the fucking gun buying craze and all that shit. So I got 2 permits early March prior to everyone going really crazy and shit. They came back within 14 days.
Yeah.
Then I went and do my concealed carry class. It took 9 fucking months for me to get that back.
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Unique New York.
Unique New York. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch.
Down into my belly.
We just watched that in the show.
I fucking love
that
that scene where they just all show up and they're like, it's the rival news anchors. They all have all these different weapons, which brings us...
Brick, where did you get a grenade?
Yeah, I killed a guy with a trident.
I killed a guy with a trident. They made him so stupid in the second one, though, and it wasn't that funny.
Yeah, well, this brings us to the next topic, the use of melee weapons or melee weapons.
I see. Another good segue. And I see what you did there. I thought you were setting me up for just a random go off of conversation, and then you segue into an actual topic. I love what you did
Hell
there.
yeah.
All right. So, use of melee weapons. In what context here?
So, everybody has their own opinion on certain weapons that may be considered antiquated. When we're talking about tactics, the big one that comes to mind are bayonets. With the advent of suppressors and the fact that we try not to close as much distance, but the fact is that there is still a need for a bladed weapon that you can use.
Oh yeah, especially if you end up, say, like in a CQB situation where you round a fucking corner and you like just can't get the shot because it's too fucking close, and you get fucking pushed back, and you can reach for wherever it is on your body, and you've got a fucking knife, and you can get them off of you to get them further enough back to close distance enough to fucking smoke them.
Well, the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is your infantry, you have a rifle. They don't actually get pistols. Only like radio operators and higher ups got pistols. In special operations, everybody had a pistol as your secondary. Or if you were carrying a bolt gun, you might carry a bolt gun and a carbine. For me, I've carried, I usually carried a fixed blade fighting utility knife. It was either on my vest or it was on my gun belt. I also had a pocket knife because you kind of want that for like utility stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had a Gerber. But I would also carry is a little SOG tomahawk. And it's not for everybody's like, oh, did you cleave somebody's fucking head in with this thing? But no, it was for murder holes, digging out little ports that you could shoot through. So like all these, as long as it wasn't a reinforced wall, you could literally chip out this mud and be able to set yourself up. And for sniping, there's what's called loophole shooting, which is you do a formula to be able to shoot through a hole or an opening and it to drop on your target from distance, which I didn't know this. Those are actually, the mathematical formulas are actually considered secret. Yeah, that was pretty weird because we were teaching some not so nice people in other countries how to do this stuff. Not me personally. Oh shit, I hit the mic.
Oh shit, the second time.
But melee weapons, in my opinion, there's a place and time for everything.
Everything has its purpose and everything's got its time
like
for use.
sidearms, shotguns, but when it comes to getting close in contact, and like within law enforcement, it's the baton or OC spray, the chemical agents, or a taser, which tasers can kill you. OC spray and batons, unless you hit them in the head, are not going to kill you as much. But when we're talking like a lethal weapon, a melee weapon that you would need, almost every Marine you know carried a fucking knife.
Yeah.
Whether it was a pocket knife or a fixed blade knife. And then there's a knife called the SOCP, the SOCP, Special Operations Combative Program knife. And it's a thin little dagger, and it has a little hoop on the end of it so that you could stick your finger through it and pull it out. And you essentially,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Was it claw shaped?
No, it wasn't. It was
just
like
a straight dagger with a little fucking loop.
It was small enough to where you could put it through a single webbing of your molly. Yeah. Huh. And so they taught us, and I took a gutter fighting class at MARSOC, which was for low vis stuff, like how to fight in a taxi, how to fight in a phone booth, even though phone booths aren't, how to fight in an elevator.
If you're in London, they're still there. They're still fucking there.
Confined spaces, how to use your pistol, and how you use this knife.
Yeah.
If your pistol goes down, you don't have anything else. And then you're using anything you can get your hands on.
You're using weapons of opportunity.
Exactly. There were British SRS dudes actually wound up having their pistol go down. The guy, I think he broke off the little windshield wiper thing and wound up stabbing this guy. He didn't kill him, but he wound up sticking him either in the throat or the eye with this this windshield wiper and created that time and distance to escape.
To get out of the situation.
Yeah. And it was wild because now people they have all these different kits. So they got their concealed carry holster and stuff like that. But probably one of the smartest things I've seen is having a combination with your rifle. For the military, rifle, and then like a pistol.
Yep.
Or sorry, pistol and then a knife. They would put like the fixed blade on the holster so that they could have it.
Your fucking drop holster.
Well, and I always wondered why cops didn't do the same thing. Like run their pistol. It's got a laser or light or something, but having a baton on it so that if I need to reach for it, I can pull it out. I understand like putting your taser somewhere else.
Well, yeah, because then you get that
department policy, but yeah.
Then you get that taser Glock chick.
taser.
Shit, that wasn't my taser.
My heart goes out to people that wind up in situations, but at a certain point, you have to say, well, you understand that you're putting yourself in this predicament of getting into an altercation. So if you don't want to escalate to a gun, like a melee weapon such as brass knuckles or a folding baton or an asp or something that just looks like I don't want to fuck with that guy. Yep. And it really does help.
So Joe Dolan made a good comment on that. So New York in the 80s and 90s, he carried a nightstick, and he would take a nightstick over fucking anything because it was mainly the appearance of it. Mm-hmm. You know, going down to downtown, like, or you know, in the downtown area, going into like bars closed and stuff, right? And you're standing down there, and you have your fucking nightstick underneath your arm. Mm-hmm. And all these motherfuckers are like, all right, I'm going to stay the fuck away from him. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to get my cab. I'm going to go home. And it was a good deterrent just physically by seeing it and then understanding. Because everybody that sees a nightstick knows what the fuck it's used for.
Yep.
Like, that is fuck around and find out.
Physical appearance is actually one of the escalatory measures. Now, in the military, we don't consider that. Mm-hmm. They usually say shout, shove, show, whatever. And in the military, you could do warning shots, which I think is hilarious. But as a police officer, you can't. Then in today's day and age, you have to be careful. But the mere physical presence.
Did warning shots. As well, Marine Corps doctrine anyway. I don't think we ever.
If you were like manning VCPs, like entry control points and stuff like that, I remember you could shoot the foam baton from your 40 mic, your underslung grenade launcher.
Yeah.
I knew guys would fire pop-ups. Dudes had pen flares.
The fucking, pen flares.
Pen flares are actually kind of fucking dangerous. You
could do something to de-escalate, or not de-escalate, but be like, stop, bitch.
Well, and the other thing that you could shoot this is not recommended, and none of these are recommended. It's whatever your department policy is or whatever the rules of engagement are in the military, but you can fire breaching rounds, and they won't kill somebody at 100 yards. You can fire them, but for the most part, if you're going to carry a rifle and you're going to carry a pistol, have a good idea for your everyday carry. A lot of people have lights, but carry a blade or something you can use to break a window or break somebody's face.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, shit, like, on average, during the day in general, I've got I'll have my either my 17 on me when I'm open carrying at the shop, or if I just don't want to open carry that day, I'll have my like little, I'll be concealed carrying, but I always have a fucking knife. Or my box cutter or something. Like, I always have like that fucking folding box cutter in the back.
I've got a UV flashlight. I have one of those
handbreakers. You got that from me. Yeah, from Glock days.
And then I carry a CRKT.
Yep.
And then I carry
a little creaky.
A little CRKT. I have 2 knives. And then like, but for the most part, I have something. So if I can't get my knives, I have this bad motherfucker. You can even use the pen if you needed to, but the end of that's enough to fucking really. The same with this is you can bash somebody around the T-box from their lip to their eyebrow, and that's the other thing a lot of people don't know is how badly your head bleeds. Like a head wound looks devastating. But anyways, yeah.
Oh, it's like your fingers, capillaries.
Yeah,
like bleed like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Well, so the last thing I want to just hit it real quick, just because I think this has been on here the past 2 times, actually,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. Okay, so I'll let you choose first. Choose your fighter. Okay. Well, choose. So
if we could fight any
think,
historical figure, who would it be?
I think we're going to do this every episode, too.
Why and how would you win? I was saying Genghis Khan, but now that I think about it, I probably would want to fight Andrew Jackson, President
Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, and reason being is he created the Democratic Party, but before that he was actually 16 and he was wounded in a battle called Cowpens. He actually got slashed with a saber. And then he's in the military. He's a horrible human being, like terrible human being. He killed tens of thousands of Native Americans. He basically pushed genocidal mandates throughout his entire course, whether he was in the military or as the president. But this motherfucker would fight people. They called him Old Hickory because he would beat the shit out of people with his fucking cane. And he shot at least 2 people on the White House lawn dueling. So this guy was
That's actually fucking dope.
one fucking really mean motherfucker. And I would like to have taken him in his prime, not when he's president. And I want to throw hands. And like if he brought his little walking stick, I'd probably grab like a little baton. We just see how it goes. But yeah,
damn,
I think he could throw hands, man, for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, back in his prime, yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say. All right, this is a tough one. I got a couple in mind on this one. Richard Nixon. I'll throw that one out there.
Old Dick, yeah,
Old
you'd fuck Dick?
I'd fuck Dick.
Hell yeah.
I would fuck him all up. That's all right. So I know some people that might watch this podcast that are going to be like, I knew you went to Ibiza. I knew that's where you spent your weekend.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Ibiza. Everybody's entitled to party where they want to party.
Hardy.
I had a friend that worked at Ibiza for. I knew them when they were in the Navy. They're a really good person, and they love that lifestyle, and they're a good human being. And
they're like Wagner.
Well, no, I don't know. I never actually considered what their sexual preference was. That just never came up in conversation. But they wanted to create a safe space for other people to enjoy their time. And I would honestly rather spend my money at Ibiza than say Pravda.
Oh, I don't like Pravda at all.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this to caveat off that they peddle fucking meth through Ibiza now. So,
be careful, guys.
Well, I mean that's just in general anywhere. But I would say Richard Nixon.
Fuck yeah.
Why? Because he's a piece of fucking shit. I love it. Easily fucked up so much shit at the end of Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
How? I don't know, dude. I would just walk up to him and fucking deck him, and it'd probably be enough to break his eye socket.
Fuck yeah.
I'd have a couple little fucking pennies or something in here.
Yeah.
And just fucking, and that would be enough to fucking. I'm pretty sure that'd be enough to fucking off old fucking Dick.
Well, and we're saying this hypothetically.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's dead anyways. So,
yeah, he's definitely dead. But he's not a crook. A giant dickhead. But at the end of the day. I think when we do our hot wash on this, we'll come up with more topics next time.
Yeah.
But we'll do a favorite female historical figure that we could fight. You got to
keep it equal.
Yes, equality. And then yeah, I was actually psyched about this one. This podcast.
When I saw this last night. You had me at reindeer bloodbath.
Reindeer fucking bloodbath.
You had me at that. I'm like, all right, good to go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for this podcast episode. Let's see, this is going to be number 11. We're doing this on December 20th. Are you going to be back next week?
I get back on the 20th. I get back Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve night.
So if we do not do another podcast episode next week, this will be the last one for this year. And we're going to roll in the new year doing the live stream. I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and start planning it now and then just fucking roll right into it.
Yep.
Roll right into doing the live stream at the first of the year.
Hell yeah. I'm down.
Our first one.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. With that, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a merry little Christmas And we'll see you next time.
And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!